Well, moving back to Kenya, Kenyan tea and coffee growers, Sasini, reported a 19% drop in operating profit. That's to 160 million shillings for the half year ended March due to drought and rising input costs. Ken Karuri spoke to the company's CEO, Caesar Mwangi, for more on the results.
What you're noticing is that those are decline in profitability in the 6-month period ending 31st March 2012. And the profits went down by approximately 19%. From 198 million last year to about 160 million. However, there was an increase in our revenue. Our top line increased. Now, if you find a situation where the profitability is reducing in the face of increasing revenue, it simply means that the cost element is rising higher than it should be rising. And this is due to the inflationary pressures that we've experienced in this economy. If you recall, since around October last year, inflation has been above 16%, peaking at over 19%, almost 20% in December last year. And this is the period which we're talking of operating in. And that is the period which we were operating in, and these results are have come out during a period of high inflation. So that is why the profitability has been compromised. Yeah.
Speaking of high inflation, we know in the past you've been affected by rising costs of inputs such as fertilizer, labor, as well as electricity. How much of an impact did this have on your operations?
Agricultural business, and especially the operational side, is very much cost sensitive, because we have labor, we have a lot of inputs, we have transport. All those things have got to be part of our cost of production. And the impact has been much greater because we've had increasing inflation in that specific period, more than normal. And you know, even what the central bank did is to try and tighten monetary policy. And now is when we're experiencing actually a reduction in inflation, where the inflation has come down from a peak of almost 20% in December, and right now we're experiencing, I think it's about 13% right now. And we're now seeing the effects of the monetary policy coming into play. So these results have been reported during a period of very high inflation levels.
Please talk to us about the effect of the exchange rate. We know last year the shilling depreciated to 107 to the dollar. In the first quarter of this year, it has held steady at 83, 84 levels. How did this impact on the top line for the company?
Well, the weak shilling is always a benefit to us. And in this particular case, if you compare the results this year to last year, in fact, this year the shilling was still stronger than it was last year, but it had weakened considerably from the time we reported the previous year's results. We had budgeted actually for a weaker shilling, but it strengthens considerably, and this negatively impacted our results.
With regards to prices in the international markets for both tea and coffee, please talk to us more and tell us how they will impact moving forward.
Let me talk about tea first. Tea prices have been generally quite stable. We've had a slight improvement over the same period last year, approximately 7% improvement in tea prices. But this is, well, it's not so significant, but at least we're saying they're holding steady. And this was in the face of quite a severe drought also. When you look at coffee prices, actually coffee prices were at a very good level in the previous period. But they have dipped, and we have compared our prices in the previous period to this period, and there's been a dip of approximately 18%. Okay, and this has been quite significant, because 18% is quite a significant figure. Talking about tea prices, what we are experiencing is that there's much more stability in the tea prices in the international market, but there is quite a bit of volatility in the coffee prices. They were at an all-time high, and I think now they're stabilizing to a more realistic level.
There's also speculation that Sasini is looking at diversifying to the real estate sector. What is the latest on this front?
Yeah, well, actually, in fact, what has happened is that there's been a lot of speculation that we're going to diversify, because some of our estates are located around Nairobi in areas in Kiambu. And as we all know, the fact is, because of the improved infrastructure, the prices of land in those areas has grown considerably. So I think there's a lot of speculation that we're going to diversify, which, well, rightly so, is understandable. What we have done is we've actually gone into a process of getting a change of user for that land, but we have not made a decision to diversify into real estate per se, because that has to be made at a board level, at a company-wide level. And we are still farming coffee, because coffee prices have been good in those areas. Yeah, that is our position. Yeah, maybe at some future stage we'll find it may be viable to move into something else, but that we shall have to announce as a company. Otherwise, we cannot speculate too much on that right now.
Moving forward, Dr. Mwangi, what's your outlook for the second half of the year?
First 3 months of the year, it was very, very difficult, January, February, March. And I think now with the improved rains, we find that we feel that our production is going to be fairly good. We hope that the prices, especially for tea, will be sustained, and that the prices for coffee will stabilize. So we have a fairly optimistic outlook in the second half of the year. Of course, inflation has come down, so we're also happy about that. It is now hovering at around 13%, and as I said, it was at a high of almost 20% in December when we were operating for these results. So we are fairly optimistic.